Inspiration can be found anywhere, and this little guy came from my tiles. I traced him over with an eyeliner pencil and then imported the picture into my Samsung Tab S4. I'm working in Krita for both my Android and my Windows. I'm going to be inking exactly where the eyeliner pencil was, so I'm just going over it with my tools in Krita. I found this mushroom that I really liked online, so I popped it in as a reference image and I just sketched the shape kind of how I wanted it. I just made it a little bit bigger, and I'm also inking, lowering the opacity. I'm using the ellipse tool here to be able to get the perfect shape for the eyes, and then just erasing anything that's outside of the lines. I've included stickers in all of this, so it also helps you know exactly what I'm doing, so you guys can draw with me. Just sketching in the pupil. I'm re-going over the inking lines just so it's a lot cleaner. I select the outside and then Control-Shift-I to invert the selection, so this allows me to add my colors a lot easier with the entire design selected. I want this piece in 3 different parts, so I'm choosing each of the parts such as the mushroom, the frog, and the lily, and I'm adding their own base and group layers, so it would just be easier later when I'm adding different colors and shading. I also like to overlap. I'm also going to make the eyes its own group, so I added a base color for the eyes. Making sure they're the same size and perspective. Adding lights on the lilies. So I made this brush so it would be easier to press really hard to get the color down and then soften out my pressure so it would just blend out all those edges. Now it does blend whatever is in half of the circle. So if a dark color is half of the circle it will blend out the dark, and if it's half of the white, it will blend in the white. In the drop-down dialog, I select Luminosity Shine Psi. This is the blending mode layer that I use for all my highlights and sometimes my lights. I'm inheriting the alpha, so it will take the same selection of the base layer, and it will just use the exact same selection so I don't go out of the lines. In Photoshop, that would be the clipping map. I'm adding lines here to create the illusion of gills, because I noticed in the reference layer that I had some gills showing a little bit underneath, so I'm just trying to create the illusion. I feel like this needed a little bit more texture because the lines of the gills and the stem added a lot of texture to the bottom part of the mushroom. I'm adding texture with the crayon brush preset and just mixing that all in so it looks like a cohesive mushroom. For the frog, I started with adding a multiply layer for the shading. This will cause that any other layer underneath it will also be shaded. Adding shading and the more definition you can add to the shapes helps to make it look like it actually came out of a picture. For me, I'm using that to create more of a fantasy and storybook design. Taking inspiration from the reference images here on the right, I'm color matching the different sections with the corresponding colors. It will just help to add a little bit more vibrance. I made a copy of the base layer and locked the alpha so I could just map out my base colors. Using overlay, I tried to bring in a little bit of vibrance. For the pupil and the light, I used the default black and white. To be able to find that, press D for the default foreground and background color and press X to switch them. In one of the references, there was a transparent film over the eye, which is a cornea, and I really like it, so I wanted to add it. Reshading the eye to pop out the cornea a little, it adds a little bit of contrast. Pattern brush and the Impressionism wet blend, just to kind of soften out those edges and to kind of give it a storybook feeling to it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed drawing just as much as I do. See you soon!